Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, state police are investigating a shooting that resulted in the death of a couple in southern Kentucky. And with violence escalating in Minnesota, President Donald Trump is taking matters into his own hands. We'll explain.
And one round down, a couple more to go. Details coming up.
Dedicated to southern and eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. It's been a cold day and many of us woke up to a little snow on the ground this morning. Several schools were closed today and some will remain closed tomorrow due to the weather or illnesses. Meteorologist Eric Dean has the latest forecast on this First Alert Weather Day.
All right, so the big story, Steve, not only do we see that snow, but we had dangerous cold temperatures. Some places woke up to feels like temperatures in the single digits over towards Wise. Had it feels like temperature well below zero. The other big story was the wind. Look at the wind gusts since midnight, between 20 to as high as 30 miles per hour, depending on your location. All is quiet right now on live pinpoint Doppler radar, so there's some good news there. Right now, though, we are seeing mainly cloudy skies. Temperatures right now in the low to mid 20s. We're already down to 19 in Wise, 21 in Clintwood, 27 in London, as well as Somerset. You factor in that wind. This is what it feels like out there. 13 in Jackson, 19 in Hazard, 9 in Wise, 18 in Prestonsburg, 10 in Logan. And then you go over towards Monticello, even seeing it feels like temperature of 18 degrees. So when you wake up in the morning, temperatures in the teens and 20s will greet you. We'll see mostly clear skies. Our next weather maker, though, will come Friday night. We'll start your Friday off with that single-digit wind chill once again. And then here comes the next weather maker. Friday night starts off as rain, turning into snow, and that will continue as we go into the overnight hours. We'll time everything out with Future View coming up in the First Alert forecast in a few minutes. Steve.
Eric, thank you. A couple were found dead in southern Kentucky after a shooting. State police say it happened yesterday morning at a home in Metcalfe County. Police say 83-year-old Doris June Huffman was found dead inside the home from an apparent gunshot wound. Authorities also found 87-year-old Vander Huffman inside the home with life-threatening injuries. He later died after he was taken to T.J. Sampson Hospital in Glasgow. No other details were released. One Johnson County man was arrested after drugs were found. Police were called to a home in Hager Hill last week about a man passed out. When police arrived, they got Jeffrey Blair out of his vehicle. Deputies say they confiscated marijuana and found a clear bag containing a substance they thought was meth. After being taken to Paintsville ARH, Blair had agreed to do a blood test, but he then told police Suboxone and marijuana would show up in his system. A Lexington coffee shop is cleaning up broken glass again, and police say the woman responsible for some of the past broken windows at a Cup of Commonwealth has been arrested. She is facing charges of criminal mischief. Police say Devonna Mitchell broke the window with a rock. They say she was standing outside the business and has a history of breaking windows at the shop. But as Amelia Lee reports, the shop's resilience and its community support remain unshaken.
This time was the first time I was like, oh man, this is going to be my life for a while. It's just habitual at this point.
Police tape still marks the scene. You can actually see the window boarded up behind me here. This is actually the 8th broken window a Cup of Commonwealth has had since they opened in 2013. But this time, the damage feels a little different. The shattered window had hand-printed artwork from a local artist. Owner Salvador Sanchez knows the routine. Clean up glass, board the window, and call insurance. The team even has broken glass t-shirts for moments like this.
I'm just thinking about now we have to update the t-shirt. We have to put a new date on the t-shirt now, now it's out of date and it's like vintage.
But Sanchez says what keeps them going is the community. Laura Carter-Stone, she orders her usual cappuccino every morning. Today she added a t-shirt purchase.
Their resilience and their ability to draw on their relationships continues to be something that I want to support.
The shop isn't focused on the vandal, but instead celebrating the neighbors who keep showing up, like Emma Bryant, former barista, who's helped clean up most of the glass, including last night's.
The first one happening when it was just 6 months old, I think could have really shifted and made it to where It was just closing up shop, but the community has always found a way to keep supporting.
Even after 8 broken windows, Sanchez refuses to let it break his spirit.
It can be a little frustrating. We try to be very fun about it and realize that it's not the end of the world. It's just broken glass.
In Lexington, Amelia Lee, WKYT.
The team will continue to brew coffee and be a place for folks to gather and find community. Police say the woman who broke the window told them she, quote, knew it was wrong and admitted to intentionally throwing the rock, causing up to $2,000 to repair. One proposed bill would change Kentucky law when it comes to licensed child care centers and how square footage is calculated. Representative DJ Johnson, an Owensboro Republican, proposed House Bill 190. It would change the definition that determines how many children are allowed in each daycare center. Johnson says under current law, only classrooms count toward square footage. He wants to change the law to include classrooms and hallways. More square footage means more children allowed.
It redefines the square footage just a little bit to help the daycare centers maybe make it and stay open. And the short answer is if they can't make it financially, they close and we got no child care. It may involve having 1 or 2 extra children in the facility, but 1 or 2 extra children is a little bit more revenue that a nonprofit might need to continue to keep the doors open, and for the for-profit places as well. Their margins are very, very tight.
The proposed law would require child care centers to have 35 square feet of indoor space per child enrolled. It's been assigned to the House Families and Children Committee, but has not come up for a vote. Kentucky lawmakers are considering new legislation that would require state police to partner with immigration and customs enforcement. In his Team Kentucky briefing today, Governor Andy Beshear said if passed, the bill would strain the current police force, and there are differences in training between KSP and ICE.
You're supposed to have a level of due process. There's supposed to be very particular questions and parts of an investigation. Immigration law isn't about seeing somebody that looks like they might not be from the United States and throwing them in handcuffs. That's not who we are as people, and that's not what immigration law allows. Any bill that mandates that our law enforcement work with ICE upon their request is going to make us less safe instead of safer.
Right now, House Bill 47 has been sent to committee but has not come up for a vote. We'll have much more about this, including talking to an Eastern Kentucky lawmaker about it in our next half hour. As violence escalates in Minneapolis, President Trump is taking matters into his own hands. WYMT Washington correspondent Molly Martinez joins us now from the White House with his latest plan.
President Trump is threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act in Minnesota. Unlike regular federal deployment, the Insurrection Act would give U.S. troops the power to search and arrest U.S. citizens.
The Insurrection Act is a tool at the president's disposal.
White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt blamed Democratic leaders, specifically Governor Tim Walz, for the escalating violence in Minnesota.
It's because these Democrats are deranged in their hatred for President Trump, and they are holding their state and local law enforcement hostage as a result.
Governor Walz addressed the situation Wednesday, urging Minnesotans to protest peacefully and to film ICE encounters.
If you see these ICE agents in your neighborhood, take out that phone and hit record. Help us create a database of the atrocities against Minnesotans, not just to establish a record for posterity, but to bank evidence for future prosecution.
The White House maintains ICE has a clear objective:
to remove violent criminals from the streets of Minnesota, from the streets of California, from the streets of New York, and from the streets of every state across this country.
But innocent Americans are also getting caught in the dragnet. According to ProPublica, 170 legal U.S. citizens were arrested and detained in ICE facilities. The last time the Insurrection Act was used was by President George H.W. Bush during the 1992 L.A. riots. At the White House, I'm Molly Martinez.
The deputy director of ICE is resigning. 28-year-old Madison Sheehan is leaving her role at the agency to start a campaign for Congress in her home state of Ohio. The district where she plans to run has been held by a Democrat since 1983. She's got a powerful endorsement to help potentially flip that seat, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said of Sheehan, quote, "She will be a great defender of freedom when she goes to Congress." A number of European countries are sending military personnel to Greenland. The action comes in the face of continuing threats made by U.S. President Donald Trump of his desire to take over the Arctic island. Troops from Finland, Norway, Sweden, the UK, the Netherlands, Germany, and France are all involved. They will take part in joint military exercises with Denmark, which is responsible for Greenland's defense. AAA says a new survey shows most drivers know certain behind-the-wheel behaviors are dangerous, but many admit they still do them anyway. AAA's latest Traffic Safety Culture Index survey shows how drivers see their own habits on the road. It found most people understand the risks of distracted, aggressive, and impaired driving, yet a significant number say they have done those very things in just the past month.
Drivers understand the dangers of some of these driving behaviors like distracted driving, aggressive driving, speeding, even impaired driving, even things like drowsy driving. They understand that those are dangerous behaviors.
AAA says the gap between what drivers know and how they act continues to put everyone on the road at risk. AAA says the data helps them focus messaging on personal responsibility and reminding drivers that those choices can have lifelong consequences. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, one streaming service is raising its prices. We'll tell you which one and by how much.
And in the world of weather, it's quiet now, but that changes again tomorrow night. We'll time everything out coming up.